So in the other video I was talking about, how magical practice is, mainly my destiny. It's very interesting. Like I said, when I'm going to do this series, probably on my YouTube channel, when we talk about astrology and different careers, because I started doing some of the vocational things when we looked at the 10th house and stuff. But I want to take a look at those that wear magical hats. The difference between a person making a living as an astrologer, or the person a person involved in all the different magical hats. I think that would be a really fun series to look at, and I'll talk about my chart as well and give a lot of other examples of magical friends and relatives and stuff that I think it would be a lot of fun. So basically I've just been chatting about spells and hexes and the kind of work that I do. So I want to sum it up here in this part. It's a little series, so there's a bunch of little things I say in each one. So I'm just eclectic that way. I don't have any kind of specific rules for posting. I just, make videos on different things that are interesting to me, related to what I do. So I look at it like this. When I do my work every day in my business, let's say that a person comes in for a love reading, and that person in particular, for some reason, even though they're looking to, let's say they're looking to get a boyfriend, looking to start dating, an example. And this person all of a sudden has issues around them, where they have a spirit that doesn't belong there, that's attached to them, either in the ethereal layer, or the into the aura, or whatever. Different. I'm trying not to get specific into all types of jargon, because I have a lot to say about that subject and how it works, and all of that. How does a haunting happen, and but I want to not get into that rabbit hole of details. I want to stick to what I'm saying. So it's hard with shorter content. When it's long term, you can just kind of go all over the place and have sidebars. But anyway, so let's say that they're tormented by, let's say that they work in, an environment that happens a lot. Like, let's say a mortuary scientist, for example. But they date, and they want to start dating. Well, that person needs to address that. And sometimes in a love reading, I'll be talking about, someone that they want to date, and then all of a sudden, bam, there's an issue comes up. So then I start to do work as a medium, and then I'm going to address, maybe there's a relative that is protesting, or a spirit guide of theirs that it has an issue. And now it becomes a mediumship session, and the channeling begins. And then I address that, and then there's things for that person to do. And they have to deal with that spiritual issue first before the love information comes in. I don't mean in the reading, because in the reading it all comes in. But what I'm saying is, before we address what they need to do to get results in their love life. So it starts like this for me. The big picture of what I do. I'm here to help people, especially women, find a happy love path within their destiny, within what's written for them. So if they had a bad marriage and they're looking to find Mr. Right after the marriage, I would help them point the direction into Mr. Right. Now, Mr. Right's going to cross their path anyway. Sort of. In some stories, the woman misses the situation. In other stories, they meet and don't work out. In other stories, they work out and then they crumble. Everybody has a different thing. Everybody has different love karmas. So I look at their chart. Sometimes their palm. I do a life reading. I do a deep tarot. I find out what's going on. And in their mind, they're hiring me just because they want to date. and that's it. And I'm giving them a reading, and they don't know what they're going to be told, and they think that I can just tell them a little bit about the future, and that's it. Well, that's what a lot of people have, that concept, and that's fine. I don't sit there verbalizing, no, let's do that. I don't do that. This is the first time I'm kind of opening up in a way. I've opened up, maybe like on a private conversation, a session with a client, or maybe I've opened up a little bit on the stream if I'm chatting or doing a reading, but I've never really addressed this. This is the first time in the series that I'm verbalizing and talking about this, shedding light on it, what I do, the big picture of what I do. All right, let's say that I'm doing another reading for someone, and they're about to meet someone, and they're fixated on the wrong guy. And I can see the result of what's happening and how they're going to be led astray, and the right one is around the corner. I'm trying to get them results. I'm trying to get people, I guess, married. I'm not, am I playing Cupid? Maybe, sort of, I guess. In a way, sort of, because I don't sit there matchmaking, but I do point the female in the direction, and sometimes they're in the right path, and they're about to F up everything that's going for them. I'm like, no, this is the best way. If you turn this way, this is what I can see. So it's guidance, and that's why I'm not for everybody. I'm for people that are drawn to work with me. There's a reason why these people choose me. So I'm always here for readings. There's no commitment, you're in, you're out, boom, bada boom, bada bang, here's your reading, we're good. But then there's people that say, you're the one I want, I'm drawn to you, I want you to help me. Okay. So then that's not a customer, that's a client. And then a client is someone that, we work on. I call it projects. I don't run my business where a person has to continually work with me and every day it's readings for years. They can if they want to. But I'm the first one to say, okay, enough with the love stuff. You're in a good place. You've learned what you had to. Now let's focus on career or growing your spiritual gifts, or good vibrations, or all kinds of spiritual cool things about your life. But mainly it's that. And the way that I feel about it is that I like the start and end. So I always give people a start to end, especially with magic. We're going to start on this project today, and I'm going to give you a ballpark idea of the end date. And sometimes it can be sooner or later, but it's precise gaps of time. I like to call it projects. And then when they're done, I say, okay, you can go get readings from anybody. You can go get anything that you want. It is what it is. I did my work. That's it. Thank you. But I have rules, I don't sit there doing stuff on top of other people's work and all of that. I'll shed light on that on YouTube. But to help a woman with their love life, sometimes a woman is ready for magic immediately, and sometimes they're not. And sometimes it's, I look at their chart and I look at where they are right now in life. And sometimes I'll have to do a mediumship. Sometimes a woman will need a hex removal before anything. Sometimes they'll need to do cleanses in their space. Sometimes they need to make adjustments of who they're hanging around. It's about alignment to get them to the correct, best relationship. And then when they're in that, which is it is their own destiny. That was written for them before they were born. So I'm just here looking at the future saying, okay, this direction is better for you. And then what if they're in it, but they're going about it wrong? You're letting a friend get in the way. You're not seeing him and his intentions, and he's actually a good guy. Put it to the test, Everybody has a different combination. But I'm here to help women's love lives, but I deal with so many things that are part of the puzzle that it's very, very interesting. And that's how I look at it. I guess people just see that I just do readings, but I like to call myself a love life specialist, or someone who is here to help women's love lives, whether that takes magic, a little bit of mediumship, all the different things. And it's to point them in that direction. And that's really what it's about. All right. We'll talk more in the next video.